Hey everybody, welcome to a Friday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. Hope everybody enjoying. This is the show called The Box Seats, whereas, of course, we are with comedians known as Talent and Fig, and these guys talk comedy. These guys have been in the comedy industry for a very long time, been in comedy films, film festivals, TV shows, a whole bunch of things. They're even in a sports comedy talk show called The Box Seats. Guys, how you doing today?
Good day. It's a good day, Frank.
Hey, man, I've only been in comedy for a couple of weeks, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just started.
That's news to us. All right, y'all, we're getting ready to jump into this thing that we call the COVID report. We always do the COVID report to start off the day, and there's two interesting things jumped off, my iPad this morning. One was Georgia Tech and Virginia game got canceled due to COVID-19 because Virginia basically had a lot of COVID cases. Now, Virginia had to pull out of the tournament, and Georgia Tech was able to advance in the ACC tournament, which is really heartbreaking to all the kids who were in this thing. You know, they in the thing to compete with everything else. And then Duke's season also ended for COVID-19 because they had to pull out of the ACC tournament also, which pulled them out of the NCAA tournament. So you had two teams that were looking to in the ACC tournament that were hoping to do well in the ACC tournament so they could be in the brackets when the bracket selection was getting ready to be selected. Now, my thing, Talent, I'm going to throw this out to you and say this. Being that March Madness is about to begin, can you imagine the devastation of some college basketball team that's hoping to play once they get selected in the NCAA tournament, and then they have to pull out because of COVID? Now, Talent, I'm throwing the ball to you. Tell me what you think.
Well, remember, we mentioned this at the beginning of the decision-making to go forward with playing. We said, you said it. I think you were like, worst case scenario. See, what if this team is doing very well? They get a certain placement down the line, and then all of a sudden you get that some one or two people, test positive that causes the whole program to either pull out and advance the other team. We knew this was coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. That was the exact word. It's heartbreaking for all those kids. When we look at an organization, a lot of time we look at the face of the organization and get away from the actual youngsters that are following that work hard for that. And that's really where it's heartbreaking.
Right. Now, Fig, I'm going to throw it to you and say Duke is really going to suffer probably more than anybody because this is going to be the first time in 25 years that they didn't place in the ACC tournament, and they're not going to even be in the NCAA tournament. So people who got drafted into that program, who volunteered to go to that program straight out of high school, it's going to really affect them. It's also going to affect the seniors who are thinking about, hell, actually it's going to affect the sophomores because the sophomores became juniors last year, hoping, and then COVID hit, and now they became seniors this year, and then of course it affects them and throws them out the ball. Fig, you there? Fig?
Yeah.
He didn't like that question. That's where he drew the line.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, we're gonna, and it's sad, it's sad to say that this ain't the end of this. I would be happy to say, well, at least that's over. We're a year into COVID and all that, but this is gonna follow us into next year at least.
Right, I think so too. I think
at least into next year.
Yeah, I think people who are trying to figure that. Okay, I guess not. I think people who are going to be sitting there trying to decide whether or not they want to even go to the Duke program because it's like it could affect the repercussions. Yeah. Of this could really affect for a couple of years to come. And I don't think people are taking a look at that. And I don't even think people are paying attention to, that one off season that COVID did and COVID hit and how it's affecting, like you drop a rock into a pond, you know what I mean? And it just ripples, you know what I mean?
The ripple effect. Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing, you're talking about it destroying the name of a, one or two schools, but what's to say you can go to any school and this not happen? This is a part of the new norm. You know what I mean? So the part of the new norm is no matter where we go, we're always constantly at risk of we can, test positive.
Now, and I'll even throw this out there. This is crazy. What happens if you get to the Final Four and one team gets COVID and that team has to pull out because they, now you're in the Final Four? That to me could be completely devastating. Or if you're in the Final Two and then one of the teams get pulled out because according to the rules that they're setting, now you get crowned the NCAA champion because the other team got COVID. I don't even think the team would even want to accept the crown on that basis.
No, nobody want to go in the record books with that asterisk next to it. And more importantly, I would think they have to have the rules set to a certain point. Let's say they pick the Elite Eight, right? Or the Sweet 16 and say, from this point on, the games, if we run into this COVID positive problem, we will start postponing as opposed to just eliminating, canceling altogether. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the protocol is a 2-week protocol. So let's say a team has to wait. You know, if you don't have enough players, a team has to wait. I think the rules need to be tweaked once you get to the wire. Once it's down the wire, you gotta rein it in and get a little more intricately detailed.
I think you have to too. I'm just, you know, I can't even imagine being a father. You know how as being a father, you have sons, and if they're playing in the basketball program as elite as Duke or Virginia or Georgia Tech or any of these big names, and you've been watching them play since they were in grammar school, and now they obviously coming up in grammar school, and they can't wait to become a senior. And now you know what I mean? Just the devastation of that. Look like Fig is now ready to join us. Fig, you there?
Yeah, man, I'm here, man. I don't know what happened with this stupid computer, man. It's doing its own damn thing. But I'm here. I'm in the building. I'm in the place to be.
All right, so Fig, tell us your thoughts, man. You know,
and then the thing is that listen, you know, when you start this NCAA tournament, the first thing that you got to beat, that they should have told all the participants, is you got to beat COVID first. You know, because that's the biggest opponent, you know, that you're going to face. And if you can't beat the COVID, then you can't participate in the NCAA tournament. I mean, I know it's devastating for the students, but you know, at the end of the day, man, unless you create, like, you know, we talked about at the very beginning of the year, is that if you can't create a bubble type situation where everybody is going to be COVID free, then these are the type of problems that we're going to run into. And it's just the nature of the beast.
Now, I'm going to say this lastly and throw this out there. All the teams are descending to Indianapolis. And before they extend to Indianapolis and they figure the whole thing out, I still think there might even be some more teams that'll get pulled out, you know what I mean, because of COVID, you know, as they're on their way. And like I said, I wouldn't even accept it. I wouldn't even want to move on because the team got pulled out. I'd be like, man, that's not fair. You know what I mean? It's not fair.
No, I mean, it's never. But ain't that COVID? In the essence, none of it's just fair. And the problem is when you make that decision. I always go back to that because I remember not too long ago, we're sitting on this show talking about you shouldn't do it. You should. And they went ahead, you know, more than just college. Everybody went ahead and said, we're going to play the sports. And this is the unfair shot everyone's going to get all the way till you're done.
Yeah, I 100%.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But we said, remember in the beginning, we all were like, safety first, the kids. And they said, nah, we're going to play anyway. And look at the direction they go. The COVID report gets longer and longer.
Yeah, and honestly, if you you're a great point, Town. If you decide you're going to play, that's the repercussions that can happen if you decide to play. Yeah, you're absolutely right with that. Let's talk about the next big thing, and we got to definitely move into the NFL for briefly because I want to jump into a couple of other things. But real brief, we also heard this morning when we woke up, I'm sure, that we heard the news that Cam Newton re-signed with the New England Patriots. There was a couple of people who were good for it. There were a couple of people against it. Cam Newton signed 1-year deal, $14 million. But what people aren't talking about is $500,000 deal loaded with incentives. He's going to turn back. He's going to now have OTAs. The Patriots going to get him some weapons and everything else. I'm on the fence about this signing. I'll be honest with you. I mean, in one sense, I like it. Obviously, as a Patriots fan, and a lot of others, I don't like it because Cam Newton was not an accurate quarterback, you know. But that's a whole other common, you know, thing. But let me get talent first, and then we can talk about the repercussions of Cam signing. Talent, what's your thoughts when you hear Cam's coming back?
I loved it. I loved it for both sides of the deal. I loved it for the team. And I loved it for Cam. Why do I love it for the team? Because this is a team that need to put some more pieces in place, receivers and everything. And if you're going to go shopping and try to find those receivers, you know, they're going to want to know, where am I going? Who's throwing the ball to me? Cam is reputable amongst the receivers in the league. That's why I like it for the team. They will be able to draw people there because he stayed. What I love about Cam is, and we talked about this last season, we thought that was going to be a great breakout year for Cam. And due to COVID, and he was never himself after COVID anyway. And it was just a wasted season for him as going to a place to rebuild how people look at you and your legacy, you know, coming out of Carolina. So I think it served both purposes. I think New England Patriots now can go shopping for those receivers and tight ends or whatever they need. And like, oh yeah, we'll play with Cam because, you know, he's reputable. And I think on the Cam side, he gets another chance for that one season to really knock the ball out the park.
Right. Fig, what's your thoughts?
My thing is that, you know, I know we had this conversation whether you want to take the player or the coach, and I think Frank, you was leaning towards the side of the coach, and I think that if that's your opinion and that's your take, then one coach that you can trust in the NFL, I think has earned the cachet that you can trust in him is Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick has always been known. His MO has always been to take a player that people would consider has lost his mojo or is past his prime, insert him into the team, the organization, the structure of the Patriots way, and turn them into something far greater than what other people thought they were. If anybody can turn around the career and put him in a position to be successful and win for a player like Cam Newton, it would be Bill Belichick. So to me, this is like the perfect marriage. I mean, Cam Newton, I know it's 2015, but he was coming off an MVP year. And if anybody could return him to that or anywhere even close, I would trust the mind of a Bill Belichick to be able to do that.
And honestly, in one sense, I'll be real interested to see how Cam gets when he gets a full season of OTAs, when he has weapons around him. They just got Trent Brown, who is 6'8". He's an offensive tackle. He's the biggest offensive tackle in the league. And the last time he played in the Patriots won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? It'd be interesting to see and now the Patriots now have lined up the best offensive line they've had in years. It'd be interesting to see how Cam Newton will be behind the best offensive line because he wants to run the ball. The dope running back set. They're running backs with one of the best in top 3 in the league overall. They need wide receivers, they need tight ends, and they're going to go out and get them. You got that's going to happen. You got also the fact being that it's going to be Cam Newton, and the biggest thing that everybody's talking about, of course, is the Patriots now have a salary cap where they can go out and get some players. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think it's a done season that everybody's claiming, oh, it's bad. Listen, Cam did not have OTAs, and that's a big deal. He didn't learn the playbook. That's another big deal. Right. He didn't know what to do when he got, ramsacked. He didn't have tight ends, and he definitely didn't have wide receivers. So, on that sense, I think it's a good signing. But hold on a second. And on the other sense, the reason why I don't think it's a good signing is he wasn't accurate. That was my problem. Go ahead, Fig.
No, I was like some of the best players on the team last year for the Patriots opted out.
Great point. Great point. They all coming back. So it'd be interesting to see what the team looked like then. But let's not forget this. The Jets are going to be better this year. The Dolphins are going to be better this year. And the Bills are going to be better this year. You know what I mean? So,
but hold on. Why?
And so are the Patriots.
But hold on. You said that the best players, some of the best players opted out last year, and now they're going to come back?
Yes.
Yeah.
COVID's still out here with that check kicked in. That check, they're not getting that check kicked in because COVID ain't going nowhere. We still that check, all them checks, you sat home and that cable cut off. You said, wait a minute, I gotta go back to work. Yeah, no Wi-Fi? I gotta go back. Okay, New England is gonna be, I'm telling you, it's a good deal. I don't even know how you're torn on it, Frank, because I think it's a good deal for both sides. When I look at it, again, number one thing, like you said, that cap space to go get those guys. And number two is when those guys see who they're going to play with, they don't mind signing over there and coming over to New England.
You know what I thought, Talent? I was wondering, now, no shade on no other quarterback, but if Cam is at his best, what quarterback in his conference is better than him? If Cam is at his best, even with his inaccuracy at throwing the ball, which quarterback in his division is better than him?
Yeah, that's a great point. Again, like you said, if he's at 2015 form, yeah. But it failed to be seen just yet. He's got to work on his mechanics. But we'll get to listen, I could talk about Cam Newton's problems and everything else for at least an hour, but I don't want to waste the whole hour talking about Cam Newton. So I'll move on, and then we're gonna come back to the NFL because there's other things in the NFL I want to talk about, especially the repercussions and the fallout of him signing, because it has a ripple effect to a lot of other teams with him signing with New England. You know what I mean? But let me I need to talk about this real fast and get this out there because I saw this last night and I thought of you two. I almost called you all, but it was 11:30. I saw Patrick Ewing, man. He got a huge win last night, right? Huge win, right? First of all, Georgetown beats Villanova. That's the biggest thing. And then all of a sudden, he gets accosted at Madison Square Garden from, the security and all the other things. I'm not sure. I don't know all the details. I read a lot of New York papers this morning, but damn talent. First it's my man, and now it's Patrick Ewing. What the hell is going on with the Knicks ownership?
First of all, have you ever seen a flyer or advertisement for anything at the Garden? It says tight security. Okay? I don't care who you are, what you do. One thing about that organization, man, it's a tight run ship, and reasonably so, because that fear for the execution of your job trickles down very well all the way to the bottom, and that means security. And this is, to me, I think people are looking past a bigger problem. The bigger problem is the disconnect of generations. How do you not know Patrick Ewing?
Mm-hmm.
I think those people, because there's a lot of young security now in that building, they got to be diverse, they got to be up with the times and all that. But the younger generation, this is what they do. They have their world, and unless they're raised a certain way to learn the history of what came before them, you get this. You get some young security dude. No. I don't care where you are, son. And Patrick kept looking at his jersey in the Raptors. Who do you think you are? He was like,
yeah,
that guy. You know what I mean? But that's the bigger problem. But it's the Garden. I'm not on the movement of bashing. Oh, Dolan ain't this, Dolan that. Dolan ain't even there. There's protocols in place. People fear for the execution of their jobs, and he got caught up in that net like Spike did. You know what I mean? Oakley, that's a different situation. But like Spike, they got caught up in that net.
Yeah, but Spike got into that Charles Oakley, now Patrick Ewing talent.
But no, you got to. Here's my thing. I never rolled with Spike on it because I knew the situation. I was there. I was there that game that day when they made the security changes, and all Spike had to do was come it's like a little hallway to loop around, and that's all they had to do because they had no insurance on that entrance anymore. You couldn't let people in there. God forbid Spike, of all people, get a paper cut, a splinter, or slip. That's Dolan's ass.
Mm-hmm.
He got to sell the whole thing. But and it got bigger than what. That's why I didn't even feed into that one. The Oakley thing was a personal situation, so hopefully they'll rectify that. But yeah, Patrick, you got to lose some weight. You know what I mean? You got to. They looking at his picture with the jersey, and they looking at him, and they like, you ain't that dude.
Got to get that high top grade back. That's what it is. Faith, Charles Oakley, Spike Lee, now Patrick Ewing, Madison Square Garden is taking a black eye on this one, man. What you think?
I honestly, from the inside scoop, you know what I mean, to knowing the inner workings of Madison Square Garden, I have to defer to talent because, that's a place that he works, from time to time, pretty regular every year. With the Garden of Dreams and stuff like that. So being on the inside and knowing the inner workings of Madison Square Garden, you got to defer to talent on that one. But just, the optics of it just seems bad. Patrick Ewing is when it comes to the New York Knicks organization, is basically iconic. He's arguably the best Knick to ever suit up and play. But here's something that I heard earlier today, which might be true. Maybe it's not about the Knicks organization itself. Maybe it's just about it gives a black eye to Madison Square Garden because the people that are running the Knicks are all brand new from what is it, Worldwide West, and just like all of the people that Dolan hired to run the Knicks organization are all different now, down to Coach Thibodeau, the team. So maybe this isn't directly related to the Knicks and more Madison Square Garden. What people don't realize is that Madison Square Garden puts on way more events than the Knicks games. So I'd like to say that it's not Knicks related, but if you work at Madison Square Garden and you don't know who Patrick Ewing is, then you need to do some more research. If you're security and you don't know who the iconic Knicks are, you need to just do more research. You just
Yeah.
that's just somebody that you need to know. Him, John Starks, Oakley, the Allen Houstons, the Charles Freewood. Like, these are just people that you just need to know if you're an employee at Madison Square Garden, man.
Here's even the bigger thing. The bigger is how many 7-footers are walking through that door. Like, I mean, if he's 7 foot and he's walking through that certain door, he got to be somebody. You know what I mean? It's not like he 7-footers come in there and walk through there, on a regular basis. You know what I mean? He got to be a coach or a player or something, right?
You know what the worst part about it was? He wasn't just there to visit. He was the coach of a team that was playing in Madison Square. He's the coach of Georgetown. And they're playing in the Garden.
Well, I mean, it's generational, bro. That's all it is. It's like when we used to just think back to when you started working summer jobs and stuff, and then you got real jobs through the fall and everything. We would do a little bit of research of where it is we work. These people today don't do the research of where they work or whatever the case may be. Yes, Madison Square Garden is separate from the Knicks, but they're synonymous and go hand in hand like a husband and wife. And just to give you an idea, the Garden is so big, we would sell out Garden shows with comedy and concerts, and the circus is going on the other side. Just how big the Garden is. You know what I mean? The Greenland Brothers is right next door, and you still got a basketball game or a comedy show in the theater or whatever. Just how big it is. But I think just as we got a new administration in place with the Knicks team, I think there's a lot of new people in place with the Garden and the structure of that employment situation as well. So, but my thing is, you work here now. Look up. You got a couple. Know who these guys are. If nothing else.
Right.
If nothing else, here's your homework. I need you to know who these guys are.
Yeah, and the fact that he was coming there to work. I mean, listen, even if you didn't know who Patrick Ewing was as a player, you don't know who's coming to the Garden. Like you got 2 college teams coming
Right.
to the Garden to play, and he had to have some credentials as the coach.
And you get that paperwork with everybody on it. You get that, from the assistant coaches to the roster. You get all that.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Now let's move on, man. There's another big topic I want to talk about. I want to come back to the NFL, but since we talk about Patrick Ewing and NBA, I don't even know if either one of you all know this. There was a new trailer that got released this morning, right? The new trailer got released this morning. It was on a new documentary 5-part series on Michael Jordan. And here's the difference of this take on Michael Jordan. This take is going to be, the new doc series is going to be Moment of Truth. They released a documentary trailer this morning on Michael Jordan's father who got murdered. They're doing an investigative search on the 2 men who killed Michael Jordan's father, Daniel Green and Larry Dimitri. It's a murder mystery type of documentary. They are saying in the trailer, they are alluding to, quote unquote, they're alluding to that Michael Jordan's father's murder had a lot to do with his gambling debts and other issues that Michael Jordan has hidden. Netflix is releasing this.
I've been saying that.
Netflix is releasing that. Now, let's go back to the year that Michael Jordan's dad got killed. If you remember, Michael Jordan was about to retire. Actually, he had just come off a championship. His father got murdered, and Michael Jordan then retires out of the league. Now, from the documentary thing, I mean, they're supposed to be hitting you with like 4 or 5 major bombshells that they did investigative reporting. You know what I mean? Now, Talon, I'm going to ask you this. Do you expect it to more along lead to the fact that it had to do with Michael Jordan's gambling? And did Michael Jordan possibly, and does he have possibly things that have been hidden from us from years that will be revealed? What you think?
Well, I don't think it's things being hidden. I mean, we all knew about his gambling power. I said this a long time ago. From one of the rumors that I had heard is Michael Jordan was gambling to the point where, I don't know if you remember, in that same era, there was a big thing about players gambling on the games themselves. Mm-hmm. And the rumor was that was part of Mike's gambling, that Mike had gambled. And now if you pay attention, right before the death of the father, the murder of the father, those playoffs before then, Mike was supposed to lose to the Knicks. Mm-hmm. And that was one of those heroic endings of the series where they would go on, and go to the chip and do their thing. But he was supposed to lose, but the fact that he didn't lose, and I guess whatever amount of money he figured I could just pay that debt off or whatever. And the people they was dealing with didn't figure like, no, when you deal with mob money, everybody knows the mob don't come get you. The mob come get who you love.
Yeah, and let me just throw this out there to make a point on what you're saying is that if you also recall at that time, 2 NBA officials got caught and got fined, and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that was the whole thing
because of fixing games and everything else. Now I'm gonna throw it to Fig real fast, and then I'm gonna come back to you, Talon, because I got another question I'm gonna ask you about this. Fig, what's your thoughts when you hear that they're supposed to be dropping some bombs that supposedly will reveal more on Michael Jordan gambling and other issues that have been hidden from the NBA for years that led up to his father being murdered?
I think it's the time that we're in, where everything that is done in the dark is brought to the light and exposed. But it's sad in the sense is that it's another black man. When I look back at the way that they're doing things, this media machine seems to be throwing dirt on a lot of black men that are iconic figures. They did it to Prince. They did it to Michael Jackson.
Mike Tyson.
Tyson. They did it. Now they're doing Michael Jordan. They even in the hours after Kobe's death, they brought up the stuff on Kobe too, man. I'm like, every human being that lives on this earth has skeletons in the closet and has dirt in their past. But you live, you grow, you mature, and hopefully you get better. What's the point in bringing that up? What's it going to solve?
Money.
And who is it going to help? Like it doesn't help anything.
Okay, let me
money. It's all about money, bro. It's all you got to understand. The documentary is going to air on Netflix and make money.
Hold on, Talon. Before we come to that point, let me just say this first, and because Fig brought up some great points, and you did also, Talon. Let's just say that the facts that they bring up are proven to be true. Because you know what I mean? Michael Jordan denied for years. He denied he had a gambling habit and everything else. Notice what's getting ready to happen. A couple of days ago, I don't even know if you all noticed this. A couple of days ago, Antoine Walker released some news saying, "Hey, you ain't gonna believe it." And ESPN published this. That you're not gonna believe this story that Michael Jordan, how much money he spent at gambling. Literally, it wasn't even 4 days ago. It came on ESPN. What if Michael Jordan really did have a gambling problem and it was covered up by the NBA? Is that Michael Jordan's fault? Because at the time, Michael Jordan was, as you know, yes, he was an iconic.
He was the face of the league. He was the face of the league.
Right.
But to what Fig is talking about, it's neither here nor there whether it's true or not. What he's saying is after the fact, we're going back, these shows are going back and these medias are going back and kind of putting a blur on the image and tarnishing the image and trying to demolish it, if it can go that far. But my thing is this, whether it's true or not, where we living right now in time, we got to say, okay, well, cool, information, boom, move on. He's still who he is. He still did what he did, boom, and you move on. It's neither here nor there whether it's true or not at this stage of the game. What are we trying to accomplish? And I'm trying to tell Fig, it's still, as long as there's money to be made, you will always have these type of things come about. That's the directive at the end of the day. Yeah. Is it going to damage them? Yeah, but if you put $1 on it, that person don't care about that. They care about selling that product.
All right, now let me just throw this out there. Of course, me and my Pelican briefs, as Rodney Perry likes to call it. What happens if it's more than just him? Because what happens if it's more than him gambling? What happens if it's more than they release? Let's not forget at the tail end of this, he suffered the most because his father got murdered. You know what I mean? Right. So now they're bringing out these allegations, things like this. It literally, the trajectory of what Michael Jordan's career completely changed because his father got murdered. He quit the NBA for 2 seasons and then came back. I don't know if he was trying to prove something or he got bored or whatever, but it did change the trajectory of what was at the time. And to this day, for some people like me, was the best basketball player to ever play the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, back to Fig's point is like, we got 100 what ifs, right? If what if was a spliff, we'd be all high, right? So all the what ifs. What if it's true? He had the major gambling problem. It means nothing to today. What if they covered it up? It means nothing to today. Really, to me, that's the story. the story's going to become, if it's true, it's like, wow, so the league, you guys got caught covering something up. What else did y'all cover up? You know what I mean? A guy having a gambling problem, you can find one of them on every other corner. It's just that it's Michael Jordan and he's playing at a higher stakes level. I don't think it changes anything today. Do I look at him any less? Do you look at him any less?
No, I don't either. But the thing that really bothers me, first of all, I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan. The thing that really bothers me is that this 5-part is, first of all, it's a 5-part documentary series. I'm bothered by that because it looks like it'll be a 5-part smear campaign. Now, of course, I saw the trailer. I can't 100% say that for a fact. They could be just put out as a trailer to get people to watch. It's about Michael Jordan's father's death. They're going to basically dive into what Michael Jordan's father was doing. You know what I mean? And and probably trying to insinuate that maybe Michael Jordan's dad was doing the gambling debts. Maybe he was the one. Maybe he was the one who's at fault. I mean, I don't know because I haven't seen it. But we already just
I get it. I get it.
You know what I mean? We just saw Jordan have a huge 10-part series released on ESPN. Everything
The Last Dance.
Yeah, we saw that. So why?
But if you think about this, and here's what it brings me in the mind of, right? I'm in the process of working on several docuseries because it's so much to life's journey. If you've been blessed to have a decent journey. So let's take somebody like a Michael Jordan, who's probably had the craziest, deepest journey, right? Seen more than most, heard, done, been around. So there's so many angles you can come up with. This year is this, right? You can turn around, come back the next year and do a whole 10-part series on when he dated Madonna. Then you could come back and do a 10-part series on his input on the drafts every year when he was on the Bulls. Then you could come back. It's so many intricate cracks and crevices we could play with. This is just another moneymaker to me. It's an attention getter. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, yeah, Last Dance. Exactly. Somebody just said Last Dance, they did some good numbers. It absolutely did. It's still up on Hulu and Netflix. Like, it's still doing numbers. So that person that's sitting at home going, I got a thing I did. Put mine out now. Who ain't going to buy it? It's Jordan.
Yeah, exactly. Phil, you want to add to that?
Yeah, man. Well, the thing is, I know it's a moneymaker, and I know it'll probably be very popular and stuff like that, especially to the LeBron fans, you know what I mean, that want to find some kink in the armor of a Michael Jordan. But at the end of the day, to me, I know all the little side stories, but to me, the big picture is what you're actually doing is saying Michael Jordan is responsible for getting his father murdered. And to me, there's some things that are taboo that I wouldn't touch. And that's one of them. Even if it's true, it's not true, whatever, and stuff like that. Why would you want to say that why would you want to even put it out that a man is responsible for having his father killed, his son killed? People even they speculated that because Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC, they murdered his son Ennis. Like, if these stories are true, why would you bring those things out? You know what I mean? Unless it's to damage the individual.
Tarnish the image, all
beyond
that.
Making money.
Yeah.
You're also tarnishing the image of the individual. And look, Michael Jordan is an iconic figure. Nobody in the history of sports has sold more sneakers than Michael Jordan brand. There is no one. There's no one that's ever went undefeated in the NBA finals. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to say this man is responsible for killing his father. I'm like, come on, man.
I like that. Amir said they go fig mentioning LeBron. But hold up. Here's my thing. You're preaching to the reverends, first of all. Forget the choir. You're preaching to 2 other reverends. Problem is, Fig, you still are giving people too much credit. People will do anything for money. Anything.
I get it.
But then you keep going back to why? Why would you do it other than money? Why would you? Money is all you need. You don't need no more than that in America.
No, my only point is I get it. I know it's a money maker. I know it's sensationalism. I know it's. I know. Look, it's that kind of. It's the era that we're in. We're in that era where people throw out horrible stories because it gets attention. Like this last thing with the you know, with New England and the Dutchess and it is and the stuff like that. Like all of this is that sensationalism, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm just saying, like, I don't like that kind of stuff. It's not me. That's not my thing. And I would, like, my personality, I would never throw dirt on a person just for money. That's not my thing.
Fig, sensationalism of anything drives in millions.
Yeah,
millions
I know.
of dollars. Millions. That's the world we live in, especially now with the internet. It drives in millions. Speaking of sensationalism, let's talk about other sensationalism that happened last night. Steve Kerr benched James Wiseman, the rookie, last night for the first half of the versus Clippers game because he missed his COVID test during the All-Star game. During that same game, Steph Curry blew up on the sideline because he was really pissed at his teammates, the interaction, where they're playing on the line. He's like, some people even speculated coming out of the Bay Area that the team is imploding and Steve Kerr and James Wiseman is the center of it. I'm saying if James Wiseman is the center of it, they're going to trade him. They're going to trade him. You know what I mean? Because he's supposedly not falling in line to what they're thinking. But there's a lot of issues going on right now with Golden State that's starting now to boil over. Talon, you hear all that, man? What you think?
I think it's about time. I mean, you knew it was going to happen. That's what happened with teams when your nucleus of the team don't get to play together for an extended period of time. You know, you got to think back to when you've seen Draymond, Clay, and Stephen on the court together. This is how long this has been going on. This one will be playing. These two are hurt. These two will be playing. This one's hurt. This has been going on for a long time. So when that goes on and that time frame drags out and get extended, yeah, we start seeing implosions, little implosions here and there. And I wouldn't be so quick to say that Weissman's gone.
Well, I'll say this, man. I think you're right about one thing. Aggravation level combined with COVID, combined with people having to be in closer quarters, can get a whole lot of people's temperatures to rise. But Fig, what's your thought process?
The first thing I think about is that Steve Kerr and Steph Curry, Draymond Green, those are three of the guys affiliated with the team that have what we call a championship pedigree. You can accept as a champion, you can accept losing to better talent, a more talented team. The one thing that you can't accept as a player is somebody not giving 110% effort, whether you're winning or losing. And I think that was the problem with what Curry was on the bench. He was like, yo, let's go, because it didn't seem like they was giving the effort of what the staple of the Golden State Warriors team is about. At the end of the day, I know they don't have the offense, but during that winning championship run, Golden State was always number one or number two in defensive win shares. They were always the first or the top two team in defense in the NBA. It wasn't just offense. And I know that's what a lot of people glorify about them. But what people did know is that they played like really, really, really good defense. And the fact that they didn't do that last night, I think that's what pissed Steph Curry off. Now, Weissman, he's 19. He's a kid. He got to grow.
Yeah, he would definitely grow. Either he grows or he's going to be on another team. Here's another issue on another team. A couple of weeks ago, actually a couple of months ago now, James Harden kicked up a big storm and everything else to get out of Houston. It happens to be another player now who's kicking up a big storm and who is sitting there saying he is not going to play for the Houston Rockets anymore. That's PJ Tucker until he gets traded. Happening on the same team, same season, two different players. PJ Tucker now is about to get traded, and it looks like he's going to go to the Lakers, Talent, at the end of the day, because now he is in the same demanding situation, and he wants to play for the Lakers. So the Lakers are now trying to make it happen, trying to, and all this turmoil is happening in the same season with the same team. It's crazy.
Did you just say implosion? Yeah. Wasn't we just talking about the word? That's an implosion, bro. And I see him getting out of it. Like, once James left, it was going to be a rebuild situation. And he's one of those guys that have been playing in the league long enough to not want to be a part of an actual rebuilding and go to a contender right now. I think this is the new norm. We talked about it, Frank. Start expecting all our cats that got their tenure in the game to start going shopping in their mind. Like, I want to go play over there. I could probably win instead of just sitting and collecting a check. I think, PJ Tucker is at that point.
Yeah, but it doesn't set a bad precedent.
Yes.
Fig, that players are now starting to do that now because now they saw one dude. Remember, I literally said this to you all right during the James Harden situation. I said I didn't like it. I don't like it at all because these players are younger. They're gonna start doing this. You know what I mean? And now you're gonna see other players start doing it. Same season, Fig. Same season. Another player doing the exact same on the same team. What you think?
And man, listen, the one thing that you got to say about PJ, first off, I love PJ Tucker, you know what I mean, as a player, because this is a kid who he didn't get drafted like high and stuff like that. He had to go over to Europe and play basketball and then work his way into the NBA. So his work ethic is just incredible. The way he plays the game, the way he's just one of those workman type players, the ones that I love. Like he's a throwback to old school type players. You know what I mean? He reminds me of the Charles Oakleys, the Anthony Masons. Like he's gonna come in there, put on his hard hat. He's going to work. He's 35 years old. He's a little long in the tooth. He's at the end of his career, and he's like, yo, man, I don't want to be a part of a rebuilding type situation at this stage in my career. I'd like to play, on a team that has a chance to win. So if he wants out, I get it. But if I'm Steve Silas and I hear that Tucker wants to leave, my response is Tucker home.
I can expect somebody to say something funny. I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. Now, honestly, man, you can't get mad at PJ Tucker, man. He wants to win. You can't. I just don't like it. I'm just not a fan of this, man. I think it's going to set a bad precedent. I think people are going to start doing it more and more and more. If we accept it overall as fans, and the NBA accepted overall as teams, you're going to start to see a whole lot more of that. People say, I don't want to play no more. I'm mad and pouting. It's going to be considered pouting, and it could literally mess up the league, man. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Well, the game as we know it is done, bro.
Yeah,
the game as we know it is done, and now us OGs got to get used to the new way of doing things. You know what I mean? It's a lot of team hopping, money grubbing, bad dunk contests. This is the new norm.
Yeah. Let's switch the gears, man. Let's go back to the NFL because the time is moving fast, man. The news got released this morning that Tom Brady also made some news because he took a contract extension, but he literally is helping out Tampa Bay because now he's taking less money than he basically did, and he gave Tampa Bay set $19 million in cap space more than what they had to be able to sign a lot of players that they had and to go out and get other additional players. And we all know, we've been talking about this, we've been saying it, the NFL now is in a serious year where the cap is only 182.5. So I guess the thing I'm going to ask you, Talent, is now Tom Brady took that hit. Calls are going to be made. Do you expect a lot of good players to run down there? You know what I mean? And especially free agent players. Because I'm going to throw this out there. I would not be surprised if James White from the Patriots and Julian Edelman from the Patriots went down there and signed with Tampa Bay. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, let me tell you right now. I mean, when you look at that, that's Brady showing you true championship. That's a champion. If I'm going to play and stay, I mean, I want to win. If I want to win, it can't be both. I can't want to sit on the biggest pile of money at the same time, not care who's coming to play with me to keep us a contender. So he did the championship thing. And yeah, that all of a sudden, it just became attractive all over again. So Edelman is out.
Mm-hmm. And I think James White will follow right behind him too, because James White's a free agent. I think he'll follow. And James White was.
They're gone. They're gone.
Yeah, they're gone. When you hear about that, Fig, what you think?
I thought what Brady was actually doing was freeing up money to bring back the nucleus of the team that they had last year, because a lot of those guys were free agents. There's Shaq Barrett and Ndamukong Suh and Jason Pierre-Paul. I thought what he was doing was freeing up money so that you could keep those guys on the team, sort of like get the band back together type thing, and kick some of his money down the road, stretch it out so that you could bring the band back and see if we can do this thing all over again. I thought that's what he was doing. But you saying that they want to bring in some additional players, I'm like, okay, maybe that too. But if I were them, I would definitely hold on to that defense because that defense was extremely instrumental in them winning.
Well, the thing is, the reason why I know they're going to do that is because this, like I said, with salary cap year, this is the only year ever in NFL history where there's so many players getting cut who are really, really good because the salary cap got lowered because of COVID. So they're going to literally take their shopping cart and go to the grocery store and buy some groceries that will be prime when they weren't able to do that before. You know what I mean? And I think you got a great team there. Yes, they're bringing the nucleus back, but they're also going to add on and even be better. Whereas a team like Kansas City got worse this morning because the two players who were out for the Super Bowl got cut this morning, and it literally saved $18 million on the salary cap for Kansas City. But Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz, the two offensive linemen who did not play because of COVID issues in the Super Bowl, and we saw how that affected Patrick Mahomes. We saw what happened. He was running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Now they're gone. Again, salary cap issues. Kansas City has one of the lowest space to do anything. Talent, what's your thoughts when you hear that, man? I mean,
yeah, they got a lot of work to do in Kansas City, bro. And I hear that the center's a free agent. So the center, they got to take care of the center. They got to take care of a lot of people, and they know what they didn't get in that Super Bowl, and that was protection. They got to go shopping for protection. It's all on the line for KC, man. I feel bad for Mahomes because you get to the peak of your existence and your level of play, and then they take a line away from you, and now you just look like a guy running for his life.
You know what? The Kansas City Chiefs are reminding me a lot of the Seattle Seahawks a couple of years ago when everybody expected them to get ready to make a run. And next thing you know, one piece falls off, another piece falls off. But everybody, remember this, a couple of years ago, people were like, oh, man, Seattle's getting ready to run the table. They getting ready to run the table, and they don't. Fig, what's your thoughts? Pieces are falling off in Kansas City, bro.
Well, I mean, I know they have to, they got rid of the two ends, but I think somebody was saying maybe they may restructure the contract, because those guys were at top of the food chain as far as money was concerned, and their production wasn't that. You know what I mean? You cannot be the high paid player and coming back off an injury at the same time. So maybe they cut them and then bring them back, and on a lesser salary or something like that, or get some younger players in the draft to fill those spots or whatever. It's basically two spots. And Talent said, they have to get the center, solidified and get his contract done and stuff like that. The one thing that I would doubt very seriously with that organization is that they would not protect the most valuable player possibly in the NFL by not getting him aligned. Like somehow that just doesn't make sense to me. And I know better than that, and I don't think they're that stupid.
No, it's not about they're not going to protect him. I think the point would be, will they get the level of quality of players that they already had to be able to protect him? And that's what I think the disconnect will be at, because when you draft certain players, you don't know what you get until you actually get them on the field. You can do all the work that you can do all your homework, you know what I mean, and not get the right guys because you can't afford the other guys. You know what I mean? Right. That's the fallout of every year. That's why everybody loves the NFL, because it's not consistent with certain teams. That's just my opinion. Here's another thing, man. I'm gonna throw this out there to you. A casualty also could be Talent that Odell Beckham literally could be traded, and people are saying that if they would not be surprised if Odell Beckham landed on Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. What's your thoughts about that one, Talent?
Now that might be a good fit for him. I think he needs to leave because proof is in the pudding. He wasn't the best fit over there. They got it done. They got a lot done without you. So if you want to come back and you're going to, I think a Green Bay would be a good landing spot for the simple fact that Aaron Rodgers is like Homie from Living Color. Remember in Living Color, Homie don't play that. So he's one of those. He's like Homie don't play. He's one of those tough, hard-nosed, blue-collar quarterbacks that you're going to come here and you're going to play, or you're not going to come here. You're not going to come play around. Because if he goes to another team with some of these kind of young, unsubstantiated quarterbacks, he might disrupt that team too. He can't do it in Green Bay, though.
I will say this. Odell Beckham never had an electrifying quarterback. Can you imagine with Aaron Rodgers? That would be a sight to be seen. That would be amazing. I think that would be the biggest draw in the NFL. I think ESPN would be all over that every single game. I think it'd be enlightening and exciting. I'm not even a Green Bay Packers fan, but I definitely want to see that. Fig, what you think?
Man, I seen a video of Odell working out today, man. This kid looks incredible, man. he looks like he's coming back, better than ever, man. He was working out on the treadmill. I'm like, my God, man. His workout and his work ethic is second to none, and he looks like he's in incredible shape. It looks like he's ready. To see him with a player of the caliber, a quarterback of the caliber of Aaron Rodgers, my God. Woo! I'm saying, but the only problem is Odell has a big contract, and Green Bay really don't spend a lot of money, man. It just don't seem like that's something that they do. That's the only thing. The only reason why I think that he wouldn't end up there is because I don't know if they're willing to pay him.
No, it's not about pay. The only way they're going to get him is if they trade him. They'd have to do an equal trade for whatever they leave out. Got to come in and equal money because they don't have. You're right. They don't have a lot of money to work with. So if they get him, they got to do a trade. But I will say this, like I said at the beginning of this conversation with Odell, he could fall other places if Cleveland ends up cutting him because he's a lot of money, and everybody's making cuts clear across the board because of the salary cap. Everybody's making cuts. They can literally sit there and say, you know what? We can cut him and save a lot of money because he didn't really, like Talon said, he didn't deliver a lot our team, and we went to the playoffs without him. You know what I mean? And he could end up falling to anybody. If he gets cut, he could fall to anybody.
But the difference is you went to the playoffs, but a healthy Odell could have made the difference in you winning and losing once you got to the playoffs.
I don't know. He just didn't. They didn't play good together. Let's just face it. And you don't want to take that risk. They was on a roll, man, and they were playing their best football for decades than we've seen. And you know who says you want to bring him back? If we playing bad already together, we done had more than ample time. I'm gonna tell you what's going to happen. They're gonna cut him. They're gonna save the money. Odell's coming back to haunt the Giants.
How?
You're gonna haunt him.
How
like you said, if they cut him, he can go anywhere.
That's what Talon said.
No, I don't really like him. I think he's a disruptor.
Really?
I do, because he started with the Giants, and trust me, as much the Giants are really grubbish like organization. They don't really let stuff go. So when they let stuff go, it's because they ain't got no other choice. He ran them so ragged with the disruptions that they let that beautiful piece go and let him go to Cleveland. I don't want him. Everywhere he goes, because look at the team. And look at the team when he went there. Before he was injured, as good as a player as he is, why didn't they get that production as a team that they got later when he was out?
Mm-hmm. Well, he could be a distraction. He was a lot of distraction.
It was a big distraction, though.
I think, you know what? The one thing that we didn't hear about Odell, we didn't hear about him being a distraction in Cleveland. They may not have got the best out of him as far as the play is concerned, and that could be a bevy of reasons, but he definitely was not a distraction.
You didn't hear him being a distraction because he wasn't on the sideline. He was injured.
No, I'm talking about even before that. Even before he got injured. He wasn't a distraction.
No, he was, Big. His post-game interviews, he was always bashing the team and the players. Everything. First of all, he would not take any ownership on anything bad. It was Baker. It was this one. It was that. It was the organization. It was never Odell just had a bad game or Odell needs to focus. That is a distraction.
I was going to say to Fig, what do you call a distraction? I was going to really ask you, like, what do you call a distraction? Because the stuff I saw in Cleveland, he looked like a distraction to me. I mean,
I didn't see like what when you say a distraction, I'm talking about the antics on the sideline and all that stuff like that.
He was doing that
and whatever. Like I didn't see any of that in Cleveland.
Well, he might not have thrown stuff on the sideline, but he wasn't all in on the team as a team player like most team guys.
What do you call a distraction? If you don't steal the mascot suit.
Let me ask you a question. You from New York. Have you ever been to Cleveland?
Yes.
You want to live there?
No.
Shut up.
That's your point.
Shout out to all my Cleveland folks out there. I love y'all. See you soon. I don't know about this guy.
We gotta get ready to wrap up the show, man. It's a Friday edition. We gotta wrap this up. Monday starting to come. We come back. We might have a couple of surprise guests. I was trying to get today too. Fig, you always wait to the last minute. You know,
I've been trying to tell you I put it up a long time ago.
Text me. Go ahead, man.
Go ahead, bro.
All right, here we go. We going with 5 top dogs of the week. We going with Kristaps Porzingis with 28 points, 14 rebounds, 1 assist. Dallas over San Antonio. Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 35 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting a perfect for 16-16.
At the NBA All-Star game, the team won 170 to 150. Honorable mention, Steph Curry, Dame Dollar, just taking the top off the game with 3-pointers and putting on the show. Number 4, Kyrie Irving putting on a 40-point game. I think just last night, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Next, over the Celtics. That was a dope game. 121 to 109 last night. Last one, Devin Booker. That's a bad man. 35 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. The Suns, 127, 121 over the Trailblazers. And Dame Dollar, that man, baby. It was
Kyrie
game time.
That Kyrie game was only dope as if, I guess, depending on who you ask. Yo, that's the show. That's the show.
Hey, do me a favor. Give me the one shot when I'm closing out right now. Hit me the one shot. As you see my backdrop right here, coming to you live from Buffalo at 11, Wings and Cuisines. You see what it is? Up here in Buffalo, 3225 Main Street. I'm brought to you live in Buffalo. Y'all know my family up here, man. We put it down. Come check out the food. Find me on Instagram, Talent the Comedian.
Yeah, oh man, I wish I could come down there. I wish you had told me about that, Talent.
Hey, every month when you come up, Frank, we're gonna hook you up.
All right, Fig, tell everybody out there they can follow you, bro.
You can follow your boy Comedian Fig on social media platforms at Comedian Fig, baby, right there. And Monday through Friday, I'm always here on the box seats, 1 to 2 p.m. This is the best damn sports show on TV, and I'm mad at Talent because he goes to Buffalo every month and he don't never bring back no wings.
All right, we gotta get ready to roll out, man. That's the show. Box Seats on the channel called The Humor Mill. Thank y'all for watching. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all Monday. Same bad time, same bad channel.